podcast. This is number 3. Um, how's it going, man? What's up with you?
It is going, brother. Finally freed from the shackles of law school. Thank you, Jesus. For the summer, anyway. But I've been all right. I can't complain. I know it's been a minute since the last time we had the chance to talk, so I'm pretty excited to do this today. Just because for all the listeners out there, for our listeners, first of all, let's say appreciate y'all for tapping in with us, and thanks to everybody who has been sharing our posts on social media and really just supporting us. I mean, we really do appreciate it. And I know it's hard sometimes to connect and just give thanks, but we definitely appreciate all the love we've been getting from the podcast, from the jump. It means the world to us, and especially when you pour your time, effort, and energy into something you want to see it succeed. So thank you to y'all. And if we haven't had the opportunity to connect with you directly or know you in our direct lives, thank you to you too for listening to our podcast and giving us a shot and a chance, man. But yeah, dog, as I was saying, we haven't had a chance because, we both been busy, and I've been trying to wrap up my final semester of my first year of law school, and we have made it. We crossed that finish line, man, but barely. I was dragging myself across that mud, but we definitely made it. Little praise report, I got one of my grades back. I did much better than I expected. So I know I shared that with you, and it was great because I didn't even finish that exam. I didn't even finish, and I got that grade. So I was like, ran out of time. So, man, I'm good though. I'm just home with my parents right now. Head out of town tomorrow, relaxing, trying to enjoy a little bit of break before I get to work and end of this month for the summer, man. What's going on with you though? How you been?
That's good. I've been okay for the most part. I texted you the other day we had spoke, telling you that like things have been really good for me, just mentally. You know what I'm saying? With all the shit excuse my language, people, all the stuff that's going on. I had gotten to a point where I was just like so overwhelmed, and I just stopped and said, you know what, like through all of this, I've yet to do one thing. And that one thing was to surrender it all, you know what I'm saying, to actually like go in prayer, go into prayer and say, Lord, you know what I'm saying, like it's all yours now. I surrender, I give up, you know what I'm saying? And then like, because it's always going to come back, you know what I'm saying? So I like to refer back to the prayer, you know what I'm saying, whenever something else comes up and bothers me. So I've been good. Like I prayed that prayer, you know what I'm saying? And as soon as something come, you know what I'm saying, to try and attack me, I remember, you know what I'm saying, Joe?
Yep.
You just prayed about that the other day. You gave it to God, you know what I'm saying? So it's in his hands, not yours. No need to try and control what you can't control. So just chill out. And that has been helping me mentally for sure.
The battle is not yours, it's the Lord's.
It's the Lord's. It's the Lord's battle. But yeah, man, other than that, everything else has been going, you know what I'm saying? Work is work. All of my other endeavors are still, you know what I'm saying, on the up and up. Been making some good progress in the trading. Creamy Kicks has been slow, releases have been low. As far as like quality, they ain't been releasing much, so I've been kind of chilling with that. But yeah, for the most part, everything's good, bro. Everything's good. I kind of mentioned something about me being overwhelmed, and I guess you could say that kind of brings us into today's topic, which is burnout. And I wanted to start us off with a question that I personally think is gonna basically be the, you know what I'm saying, the main like point of this entire podcast, this episode right here, because I feel like everybody will be able to learn so much from our experience as far as like burnout or whatever. So the question is, when was it, first off, when was the last time you experienced burnout? And looking back, where did burnout start? Like, where did it start? Because you're never able to tell when burnout starts until you get through it and look back. Like, man, like at this point right here, that's when shit started going left. And how were you? What did you learn? Like looking back on it, and how were you able to come out of it? That's what I had.
Man, I think that's such a loaded question because, like you said, you don't know when it really starts. And so I think, honestly, in April, I got kind of burnt out. Honestly, when I was going through final exam period and when I was dealing with all that, but it wasn't as bad as I would say it was when I first experienced it in the first semester. That time for me was really, really rough. When I was in my first semester of law school, man, I say November, really like not even November, it was like October. It was like October came, bro, and I had just been in school for August, September. It was just like 2 months, like 6 weeks. My feet was barely wet, but I had just got to this point where I just felt like I was doing so much stuff all the time. You know what I mean? I feel like in law school, it's this constant race. Like you wake up, you feel like you're behind in the morning. You feel like you just going all the time. You know what I mean? And it's literally like there is no break. And that has been what I have done since I got out of class. I don't have an alarm in the mornings. My body naturally wakes up about five, really closer to 6, let's be honest, more like 6:30 a.m. I wake up, you know what I mean? And so, but in law school, man, it's like I'm on this strict regimen. I have to accomplish all these things, spend this day, and I just never can seem to finish my to-do list. It doesn't matter how hard I try, I can never finish. I can never get all my readers done. I can never get my writing goal done on my paper that I have due. I can never get ahead. You know what I mean? I can't study as much as I want to. And so it just led to this overwhelming feeling of, for me, just incompetence. Like I really felt, you know, I've talked about imposter syndrome on my social media platforms before, but I really just felt like, did I make the right decision? You know what I mean? Am I doing the right thing? It led the burnout, me not taking the time and identifying what I needed to do to slow down and really just look at situations and say, hey, you're doing too much. This load is too heavy. You need to take a step back. You need to chill out. Because I didn't do that, it led to me questioning, was I making the right decision with the things that were like dominating my life, like law school? And I started to feel like I was not capable of doing law school. You know, and I started to feel like I couldn't accomplish this goal. I couldn't accomplish what I had set out to do because I was just so tired all the time. I was so overwhelmed and I just wasn't understanding. But yeah, I don't know. I can't pinpoint when it started, but that was your first question. What was the second part of your question?
It was like, when did it start?
And then what was the second part?
How were you able to like come out of it?
Oh, coming out of it, I mean, for me, I'm just a person with one. I know once I hit rock bottom once, and then it's like, okay, that's it. Not once, but once I get there, I'm not a person that sits in rock bottom. So I got there in that moment, and I was like, okay, it's time to rethink this. So that's when I got real big on planning. You know what I mean? I was pushing. It's big to plan out your days and stuff like that. And so I bought a planner and I started using it. First, I bought this app and I was trying to do it on my phone. I was like, okay, this is not working for me. Let me transition to something different. So then I started planning in a notebook. And then I bought an actual planner and I sat down at the morning or the night before and I wrote out my day. What do you have to get done? This. top 3 things. I pick 3 things every day that has to get done because I realize I can't do everything on the list. I put everything on the list, but if I don't do anything else, them 3 things are going to get done in that day. You know what I mean? I built that plan around that. And then after that, I just started practicing that daily, and it became a daily habit for me. And it made accomplishing goals much easier. And I got to the point where if I didn't do it, it felt like the day was off. So it got to the point where if I didn't plan out my day, if I didn't get up and hit the gym at 6 and be out by 7:30 on the way to class, you know what I mean? The day was not going to be a good day because if I slept past that, it's like I don't miss my time period that I reserve for myself every day. You know what I mean? To really check in and tap in with myself. And I say again, it happened kind of again in April, sort of because I just went through that again, but not to the same effect. It's more so I had to restructure my day to where I couldn't devote as much time to the gym because I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning and studying. You know what I mean? So it was like I had to reallocate some time, but I didn't necessarily fall off the wagon. It just kind of burnt me out because I was like implementing much more study time than my regular schedule called for because it was final season. So that's my answer, and I'll toss it back to you for right now, unless I can gotta jump back up in now. But yeah.
So for me, I feel like it started in February, like at the beginning of February, right after, because about that course, that stock course I bought. I want to say I told you like probably like a week after I bought it. I don't remember, but that it was just so much going into that, and I feel like this was probably my real my first real experience of burnout for real. So I get this course. This course is probably like one of my second. It is the second like biggest purchase I've ever made, like as an adult. You know what I'm saying? So I'm making a big investment. I'm going in with heightened expectations, like expectations out of this roof. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to be making crazy bread next month. Like all I need is a month to get through it. Or all I need is like you know what I'm saying, like just this little bit of time. I put a timeline on it. And I got it, you know what I'm saying? I'm going through the curriculum. I'm putting in like countless hours, bro. Like I was so I worked from like 8:30 to 5, and I would get off. I was working out in the morning at the time. I would go to work, I would get off and go straight into that until I went to sleep, and I woke up the next morning. I was doing that. I was doing that like for so long, for probably a month straight, to be honest. I was doing it on the weekends. I stopped going. I don't really go out that much, but during this time I was really like, yep, anybody who hit me up, I'm not hitting them back because I got stuff to do. You know what I'm saying?
Stuff to do.
Yeah, so I was putting everything off. I had honestly even fell off, you know what I'm saying, a bit with creamy cakes.
Yeah.
Because my priorities kind of started to shift. Like I got this new thing. I put my all into this new thing, and that just kind of became like the thing.
Priority number one.
Exactly. So I just kind of like sat down one day and was really, you know what I'm saying, like disappointed because it had been a month, and I'm like, well, this ain't paying off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So let me put in some more work. I started going even harder, you know what I'm saying? Going hard. And then around this time, that's when the depression like really started to kick in. You know what I'm saying? Like I had shared the overeating, and then just my mentality, just all of that stuff started to shift. I was irritable at work. I feel like that's when I really started to experience the effect of burnout, because I had been giving myself no time for anything else but the gym, work, and you know what I'm saying, the trading. Like I wasn't doing nothing else. I wasn't giving myself time to like just relax. I wasn't doing any planning, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Like I wasn't doing anything but that. Um, so the way like the way that I came out of that was by because people were even telling me, I was even talking to people like, yeah, um, some of my friends out here would call me and invite me places, and I'm like, yeah, I got this thing to do. And they like, man, you need to get you some rest. And I'm thinking they tripping. Like, I'm like, you're tripping. What are you talking about? Who are you to tell me I need rest? Like,
Right.
I was really like into it.
Work, don't stop.
Yeah, I was into it until um I sat down again and realized, like, bro, like it's not going to get better if you don't give yourself some rest. And the thing about trading is that it's 80% mental and 20% technical. So like
What do you mean by that?
so like 80% mental. In the stock market, you got technical analysis, and then you got the mentality of trading. And the mentality of trading or trading psychology is, you know what I'm saying, learning how to handle um, the pressure of the market, the volatility, you know what I'm saying, that comes with fear of missing out. So say if a company is about to run up and you don't get in time, you know what I'm saying, there's a specific way that you or there's a specific time that you have to enter a trade. Like the trade must meet certain requirements before you enter. So if I don't enter then, the right thing to do would be to wait until that next, you know what I'm saying, opportunity. But fear of missing out, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like that's just one piece, you know what I'm saying? Just fear in general. People are scared, or people can be scared to just invest, to put their money in. Like it's so much that comes with trading.
We done caught when we was trading last year before you start taking that course, we was jumping in some deals way too late.
Bro, we was jumping in like willy-nilly, like, oh yeah, we finna get some
hundreds of dollars, just throwing money around.
Facts. But it's a way to trade, and technical analysis is one thing, but because anybody can know, like it's easy to pick up, like anybody can know how to read a chart. Mm-hmm. But when you my course instructor said that you find out who you are as a person once you really start to trade in the markets. You're gonna find out if you're greedy, you're gonna find out if you're scary, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna find out all of these things or whatever. So on top of my like just depression from burnout, I'm also experiencing like trash trading experiences because of the burnout pouring into that. Like I can't even really just focus and make timely trades because I'm burned out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it overlapped. So all of that was happening, and I was just like, you know what? Like, let me be realistic with myself. I need to really look at this course as a real course, you know what I'm saying? Because we didn't go to school, you know what I'm saying, for a week and then graduate with a bachelor's. You know, like this stuff gonna take time. So I had to like kind of be realistic with everything and give myself grace and start to be more patient with myself. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like how I started to come out of it. Because I had a thing where I would feel guilty about giving myself like time to chill. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody invite me somewhere, I'm like, no. And then if I do go, the whole while I'm there, I'm sitting there thinking about what I could be doing. And that's the most toxic thing you can do to yourself, because, you know what I'm saying, God gave us this life to enjoy it. Like you can work, but if you're not enjoying life, then you're not really just living a fulfilled one. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I came out of that just stage of burnout by being realistic for real, setting realistic expectations, giving myself grace. Um, yeah, and just um, taking my time, being patient with myself and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's super relevant. I was gonna say just about like we talked a lot about it in I think the first episode, maybe the second, but just enjoying the benefits of the work that you're doing. A lot of times too, what you said about the course made me think about like, yeah, we went to school, you have to not only learn information, but you gotta give yourself, I think about like the sense of law school, right? Like I'm learning information and then I have to give myself time to be able to practice it. You know what I mean? Like they call professions like doctors practice, lawyers practice. You know what I mean? People, physicians, scientists, they all are in a practice because you learn all this information and you acquire all these skills under a set environment, under curriculum, but then you have to practice those skills to get good at them. You know what I mean? Just because you don't come out of school one day the best trained in your, no matter where you go, if you go to the number one school that teaches you, you know, trading options or trading, that take the best program or for law or for whatever, you don't finish that program as the best in the field. You know what I mean? You finish that program equipped with the skills to be the best, and it just takes time and practice to build that. And so I think that's like something applicable to life in general, because I think we as people have that innate nature to want
Mhm.
to excel immediately, especially if you're like a student student, someone who enjoys learning. You know what I mean? I think you have the tendency a lot of times to just immediately expect to understand and be able to apply things, but sometimes you just gotta wait. You know, like that's something I've learned, something that I guess a lesson law school has taught me, like in my civil procedure class, man, nothing made sense all semester. When I say nothing made sense, like nothing made sense. And then in the 15th week, when I'm reviewing everything we've learned, it was like my professor describes it as a fuzzy picture that gets clearer as you move towards the end, and that's the best analogy I could think of, because it started off real unclear. Like, you know, I don't know if you ever got fitted for glasses, but they ask you like, is option one or option two better, and it's real fuzzy, and they just keep narrowing it down till you get this perfect clear picture. And that's kind
Mhm.
of how it is, and that's how I think that's how you learn. That's how the brain grows, because you are trying to get, you got the information, you get a textbook, you get a curriculum, you get information to learn it. And then your instructor's job is to pull you in to make it make sense.
Right.
And then once you got the picture, you got the tools to do what you want to do to be successful at that point. So I think that's applicable to anything you're learning, any new skill you're learning in life. You know what I mean? You got to give yourself grace and time to really practice what you're learning,
For sure.
because you just, that's how you get better, by practice. Practice makes perfect.
Because if we didn't need practice, if there wasn't such thing as a process, we'd be living in
Man,
a perfect world.
man,
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
um but yeah, going off of that, I had the book we're currently reading. Well, you finished it, right? Um
yeah. I've done. I'm trying to start on the workbook this week though. But I did finish the book already. But I start the workbook sometime this week.
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, set boundaries, find peace is the name of the book. And
Man,
I pulled 7 things.
okay.
It was more than 7 things on there, but 7 that I thought were like big, and we honestly hit them, you know what I'm saying, while we were talking, that lead to burnout. Um, the first one is not knowing when or how to say no. Um, you
That's
want to elaborate?
episode.
You want
That's
to?
episode by itself.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. I was like, you want to elaborate on
Uh,
each one of these, because I feel like these for
yeah,
sure. These for sure can be. We'll have y'all in here for 2 hours if we were to go
man.
through each one of these. Um, but yeah, that's the first one, not knowing when or how to say no. The second one is prioritizing others over yourself.
Ugh.
The third, yeah, The third one is people pleasing. The fourth one,
Yeah.
the fourth one is superhero syndrome. Basically having I can do it all mentality, or controlling situations that are outside of, you know what I'm saying, your control. Setting unrealistic expectations. That's what I did. Doing things that don't make you feel happy. So basically, like doing something that's unfulfilling. For a lot of people, that could be their job. You know what I'm saying? Just whatever. If I'm waking up or if I'm doing something every day that's not making me happy, that can be for sure burnout. Like, because over time you're just mentally drained. And then the last one is dispensing yourself to people who don't value you or whatever you had to offer.
That's powerful too. I'm gonna touch on that one. I'm gonna go back first to tell other people no, not only want to say no, and people pleasing and prioritizing other people's needs over your own. I think people pleasing, those other two categories are subcategories of people pleasing. I mean, they all kind of are, to be honest, but I think they all fall underneath that because, man, I'll tell you, like, no is such a hard thing to say for me. It really, really is. I struggle telling people no, but it's something that I've had to learn. That, and I think even in the way that we think about boundaries, right? Boundaries are the way that we, like that book, I call it the Boundary Bible. So I have somebody else call it because it's just so helpful as far as it's understanding that. And I think not having good boundaries with yourself leads to burnout. You know what I mean? Not expressing good boundaries in relationships, and the way that you treat yourself is how you get burnt out. And I remember one thing Nedra said in her book was that it's important to to prevent burning out. You have to implement like self-care. We treat self-care in our society as like a remedy to burnout, when it's really like it's preventative for burnout. You know what I mean? Like if you implement self-care into your lifestyle and frequently, you won't get burnt out. You know what I mean? Like if we look at the situations where both of us described, there was an elongated period of time where we were just doing all these things without really implementing our times for ourselves. But we would have took a day, you know what I mean? Because the difference a day would have made between what we were doing and what we were trying to learn. You know, if we took one day and just did something that you wanted to do, whether it just be laying around all day lounging, or go and do something fun, something to let your brain rest for a day, or something to make yourself feel good. You know what I mean? Think about the impact and how much further we can get when we implement self-care as a part of that. And I think to go back to what I was saying about those points you made about telling people no and prioritizing other people's needs over yourself, I think those go hand in hand, because a lot of times, for me anyways, when it comes to saying no, it's like often people ask me, hey, can you help me do this? Or can you do this for me? Or can we talk about this? Or can we, you got some time to do this? And a lot of times I don't want to come across as someone who, I never want to come across as if I'm being mean or if I'm trying to put off this persona that I think I'm better than or something like that. That was something that was like real big and talked about as I was coming up. You know what I mean? Like you don't ever want to make people feel like you better than them. And you know what I mean? People always said, I guess people always assumed that I thought that about them. So I made a real intentional effort when I was coming up not to make people feel like that. And I think it translated into the way I deal with relationships as an adult, because a lot of times I find myself in positions or in situations where I'm trying to minimize or make sure that I'm not hurting someone's feelings, or even just doing things I really don't want to do for the sake of trying to keep the peace. But whose peace am I really keeping? Because there's chaos going on in my head, because I'm trying to prevent a relationship or a situation from spiraling out of control just because I don't want to say no. You know what I mean? And I think it even goes to like one thing I really realized reading that book that I don't like is like guilt tripping. I don't like being guilt tripped. You know what I mean? I know people who do that. And I had this associate at law school who would just, they would try to guilt trip me into doing things a lot of times. And I had to really express like, hey, I don't really like when you do that. You know what I mean? It's not comfortable. And you trying to convince me to do something by trying to guilt trip me into it is not going to increase the likelihood of me doing it. You know what I mean? Like you saying the answer was no, it's still going to be no. You know what I mean? And so, but that's something I had to learn to, because a lot of times I would bounce back and say, okay, well, I'll do it because of the circumstance. You know what I mean? So I've definitely learned to stick up more for myself now in that regard, because those type of things lead to burnout on my end, because I'm pushing and doing so much for other people that I'm not giving myself the time or the space or holding the space that I need, you know, to hold for myself, because I have a heavy load already. And so if I'm putting other people's responsibilities on my plate, I'll have no time to do what I really want to do. So yeah, man, them some gems. Hey, this is not a sponsor ad, but if it could be one, it would be. Go buy that lady's book. Life changing, for real, bro. I know, Cap. It has helped me. I recommended it to friends, several friends. I recommended it to Joe, I think.
Yeah, he put me on. That's the only reason I got the book. I probably wouldn't have found it if.
Man, I've sold that book. I've sold her like 6 copies of that book. She need to cut me a check.
Yeah.
An ambassador brand check.
Facts. Nidra Glover. The biggest one of that 7 to me would have to be setting unrealistic expectations. I said that already with my little story about my recent burnout experience, but I feel like I do that just with everything, to be honest. In my relationships, you know what I'm saying? Like at the job, like it's crazy, because like when you expect something, and it's not just like regular expectations, crazy expectations, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff that you can only get fulfillment out of if you communicate it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's another thing, like you have to communicate in order to receive whatever it is that you're trying to get out of other people. You know what I'm saying? But I do that a lot. Like I'll expect, say in a relationship, I'll expect a certain, you know what I'm saying, type of treatment, but I don't get that treatment, you know what I'm saying, because I didn't communicate it. But I'm basically causing myself burnout, you know what I'm saying, because I'm not, you know what I'm saying, communicating. But whenever I have an interaction with this person, it's always that, but I'm expecting this thing. I'm expecting something different. And then it's just a constant like battle. It's like, well, I'm burnt out now, you know what I'm saying? Because I can't seem to shake, you know what I'm saying, whatever this is. So I've kind of just started to stop expecting so much out of other people and really like handle everything that's within. And that and by like handling everything within, you know what I'm saying, just how I react to stuff, like giving other people grace. And for one, like the most important thing is just making sure that I communicate. That's the biggest thing right there. Like, because if you don't communicate it, it ain't their problem.
Yep, that's literally what I was about to say. I was telling a friend, one of our line brothers the other day, like uncommunicated boundaries are not boundaries, they're hostage situations, because you're holding somebody to an impossible standard. I can never meet a standard I don't know about. Exactly. I can never meet a standard I don't know about. And I think a lot of times we do it, at least in my experience so far, it's like in intimate relationships, like personal relationships, like our relationships with our significant other, our women, you know what I mean, or your man if you listen to it, you know, the show, but in our personal relationships, and because I think a lot of times, it's a little bit off topic, but just about boundaries in general, but I think a lot of times, bro, we as people expect, especially people who know us the best, we expect them to know without us communicating how we want to be treated.
Everything, right?
And that's just not realistic. You know what I mean? Because one, we change. Our boundaries change over time. Something that may have been okay with me when the relationship started may not be okay a year from now. And they may be okay again 3 years from now. But if I don't tell you that, how would you ever know? And if I'm mad at you because you haven't done something that I expected you to do, I'm the one in the wrong. You know what I mean? So I think
Stuff
that's huge.
Stuff like that leads, like, whenever you just whenever you like just experience that for a long period of time, it leads to resentment. You'll start to resent somebody
for something they didn't even know they did.
For something they did not know they did.
I didn't even know you was mad at me about that. And you over here pissed. You over here got a whole attitude.
Yeah. And let me tell y'all, man, like getting out of like the mindset of resentment is hard for sure. But yeah, setting unrealistic expectations is for sure something that I'm working on. Another thing was that last one, dispensing yourself to people who don't value you, or, you know what I'm saying, what you had to offer. And you know what I'm saying, that could be like, I feel like in my experience, like I try to sometimes like bring the people up, you know what I'm saying, around me, like as I learn something new. I try to, you know what I'm saying, like share it and whatnot. And a lot of times, me personally, it could be, you know what I'm saying, just me thinking that way, or it could actually be the case. But you know what I'm saying, I'll say something about, like, so for example, you know what I'm saying, podcasts. I listen to certain types of podcasts and stuff, and I send podcasts out to people to make sure, because in my head I'm like, well, man, like I'm all this information, so everybody in my circle, they need to know this. Like my friends need to be, you know what I'm saying, educated in this specific, you know what I'm saying, area or whatever. But a lot of times, or from what I've experienced is that like not everybody wants to know everything everything that I know, you know what I'm saying? So I guess it's not that they're not valuing the information, but it's just not like something that they're interested in. So I've had to kind of like,
it makes you feel like, damn, I'm sending you something trying to get you on free game and you ain't even paying attention.
You ain't paying no attention, you know what I'm saying? But like, I mean, that is a thing though, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like you know, you can't make somebody do something that they don't want to do.
You can't force it on. I think that goes to like I remember I read something recently, like you can't force somebody, you can't make somebody heal when you want them to. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just because you go on your healing journey don't mean everybody gonna come with you. Exactly. You know what I mean? And it's okay, because like, just because you're going through something, you're acquiring this knowledge, this information, that doesn't mean that everybody will be ready to step right there with you. And sometimes it may be best to keep information to yourself, because you may create envy. You know what I mean? And it's hard to see that. My dad was just telling me yesterday, you know what I mean? You can see hate coming from a mile away, but envy will lay up next to you in bed, and it'll be in your face. It'll talk to you every day, and you'll never see it until it's too late. So they already got the knife in you. So sometimes it may be best just to hold on to information and let people ask you about it. Because if folks know that you're doing it, you know what I mean, and they're really interested, they'll ask you, hey, can you tell me something about this? I'm trying to get into this myself. What you know about this? So I definitely feel that, but it's just goes back to, we can't rush everybody's healing journey.
Not even just healing journey,
journey period.
Journey in general, you know what I'm saying? Because I got my own stuff going on over here. You got your own stuff going on where you at. Everybody's journey is different, you know what I'm saying? So just because I'm out here, you know what I'm saying, learning what I'm learning, that's what I took from that, you know what I'm saying? I don't need to be, you know what I'm saying, like,
can't force you to
forcing,
come with me.
yeah, forcing people to
Yeah.
come with me. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody can't come.
That's taking away from that's taking energy out of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And,
saying?
and everybody can't come anyway. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
lonely at the top. So even the people that you want to come with you sometimes can't.
Right.
And it's not that it may not be that they don't even want to come. It may not just be where you at. You know what I mean? It may not be you are in a space where they ain't got to yet. And I think that sometimes, because I can do that sometimes, so I'm a pusher. And so I've had to take a step back too, because I feel like sometimes when I've done that, it's created this either this expectation that I was always going to do that in relationships. I was always going to provide, do all the research, do all the work, do all the knowledge to acquire this new skill and disintegrate the information. And then secondly, it created this, conversely, I mean, it created this idea that, oh, you think that you better than me. You know what I mean? So you think you know more than I do. And so it wasn't me trying to share information. It was me having a negative connotation or something negative to say about this person's current position. Instead, I'm just trying to share what I'm learning so that we can go together. But it was taken as me, and it was several people taken as me trying to put someone down. You know what I mean? And so I think it's important to make sure that sometimes it's just easier to let folks ask. Google's free. Let them do it on their own. Google is free. So yeah.
I struggle with that, but yeah, I struggle no more. I can't keep doing that to myself. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking about that today. I was like, bro, like, you stop worrying about everybody else and just focus on what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I do for real. Like I really just be trying to make sure that everybody where I'm at, but in reality, it's not gonna ever be like that. And I'm only burning myself out, you know what I'm saying, by trying to make sure that I'm pulling everybody else up with me.
And that goes back to what you were saying earlier about unrealistic expectations. You know what I mean? So those two things are something that I think that you struggle with a little bit. So
yeah. I had some symptoms that I want to share. Symptoms of burnout. If you're listening to this and wondering, hey, well, am I burned out? Have I been doing too much? First one is loss of motivation.
Ding, ding. That's the biggest one.
Yeah. If you feel like, man, like I don't even want to get up and get out of bed no more and do any of this, you know what I'm saying? You burn. You chill.
Can I reframe that idea? Instead of calling it symptoms, this is from the sermon today too. This sermon was good. I'm telling you. He called them. He wasn't talking about burnout. He was talking about something else, but he called it indicator lights, like in your car. You know what I mean? Because you think about it, indicator light come on to say you got to check your engine. That means there's been something wrong with your engine for about 6 months.
Right.
It's just now coming on. Let you know that, hey, it's getting out of hand. You might want to check this out, partner. So I'll say we're gonna frame these as indicator lights instead of indicators. Symptoms. Yeah.
So I like that. Indicator number 1, loss of motivation. Number 2, self-doubt. And Maydrian, you spoke earlier about that. You said that you were like, you started thinking like, man, like, can I even do this? Self-doubt. Indicator number 3 is, you know what I'm saying, when you just start to have like a negative outlook on everything, because that, you know what I'm saying, I feel like because whatever you're, you know what I'm saying, burning yourself out with is not going in your favor, then you just start to look at everything as if you're just this big failure in life, and you're stuck. You know what I'm saying? I felt that, and it's a bad feeling, you know what I'm saying? Like that come with a lot. You'll feel defeated. That's indicator number 4. Stress, of course, that's indicator number 5. This one here is one that number 6 is one that I was doing for a while until I had to realize and catch myself being angry and irritable. I was going to work, bro, like, and I was talking to Andrew about it sometimes, but I would be at work getting pissed off and like showing it. And you know I'm not that type of person. Like I'm not about to just be super angry about something. I rarely step out of character, but like I'm at work and I'm getting pissed. Like somebody on my team, he spoke over me. And I was like, can I talk? Can I talk? Can I talk? Can I talk? In a meeting in front of everybody. Like I went off like in a meeting. Um, and that's because of burnout. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you let, you know what I'm saying, just stuff get the best of you, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna always be there mentally mentally to like catch yourself before you explode. So if you just like step it out of character, when you normally don't, you probably burned out.
Yeah,
For sure. Then the last one, you'll feel like tired and fatigued.
it's physically. It will physically make you feel tired. You're not getting enough sleep. You know what I
Right.
mean? I think
For sure.
it's what's crazy as you were speaking. I was just thinking about all those things are signs of, also, this is kind of a different subtopic, but signs of a spiritual attack. You know what I mean? Whenever you're dealing with all those things, you're going through this feeling of defeat, you're going through this feeling of just angeriness and irritableness, and you're going through all these things, and you're just feeling lost. I think is the best way to sum it all up. You are under spiritual attack, and I think that because order and calmness and peace is the gift that we receive from God. You know what I mean? I think that when you get into the position and you're dealing with all of these symptoms or these indicators that the world presents you because of all the problems you're dealing with, it is an attack from him, from the enemy, to make you feel like it's impossible what you're trying to do. This task is impossible, and I'm going to plant this idea in your head that your ideas, your imagination, your dreams are too big, they're too hard, they're too far-fetched for you to accomplish, they're too, you're thinking way too hard, you're thinking way far past your capabilities. You know what I mean? When God has already given you the vision to see this, but you have to implement the steps in your life so that you can accomplish it within reason and within his time frame, not within yours. You can't sit down 2 days before a law school final trying to study the whole test. That ain't how this work, player. That ain't how this work. You got to do your part.
Right.
And if that means you can't go to the club one Friday night because you got to be at home studying, or 4 Friday nights, that's what that means. You know what I mean? And so I think that, and I always notice, for me, I don't know about you, because I know everybody's different, but for me, whenever I go through those moments, I lose contact with God. And that's kind of how I know too. It's a spiritual, and it's not that I'm not watching church. It's not that I'm not participating in religious activities, but our ticket into heaven is about our relationship with him and his son. And so whenever I'm going through those time periods, I always find that I am in this space. And I think I told you this when we talked last week, that I just felt disconnected. You know what I mean? Or maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so, and that is an indicator for me. So I'll put that on the list as number 8. That's the indicator for me. Whenever I feel like it's hard for me to read the Bible, I wake up every morning. That's the first thing I do when I wake up. When my eyes open, I lay in the bed for a few minutes, grab my phone, and open the Bible. And whenever I feel stressed or pushed out or thrown away, that's the first, that it seems to be the first thing that is hard for me to do. It becomes a task, a chore to do that instead of a second nature. And so I know whenever I realize that that's a sign, indicator, hey, it's time to, let's take a moment, let's breathe, let's think through this, and let's adjust.
Right.
So Yeah, but I think those are solid indicators for sure. And I think too, I'll add just changes in personality in general. You know what I mean? Not only angerness or irritableness, but it may be sadness. It may be, you know what I mean? Because you're, and I think the true test and the true determination of your character, your state in that period of life is how you act when you're by yourself. Because you can go to work and smile and be happy and fake and phony all day. You can be talking to folks in the grocery store and friends with your gym partner and laughing and kikiing all day. But when you get home, if you're crying in your bed or you stressed out and just don't want to talk to nobody, you're not connecting, you're not doing things to make yourself happy, that's a sign that something is off on the inside. And you got to figure out what's going on. So
for sure.
Those are my bonus indicators. Round us on up to 10.
That's good. I don't have a 10. To be honest, I mean, shit. When it's, hey, if you feel like your world falling apart, you know what I'm saying, just to kind of combine all of those into one and make it a 10th. The 10th is just everything, I guess. You know what I'm saying? If it's just not feeling right, you know what I'm saying, you may not really just know if any of those other things are going on, then that's still an indicator to like really just sit back and figure out, you know what I'm saying, why am I feeling this way? Because it might not be work, it might not be you know what I'm saying, school, it may not be that, like those types of things that's burning you out. It could be something small that you're doing daily that's contributing to that. So yeah, I want to end us off with tips, of course. I have 3, and honestly, like throughout this episode, we've mentioned them. So the first one would be to do a self-assessment. You know what I'm saying? Self-assess, prioritize, like self-assess. So basically what you want to do is really just sit down and figure out your priorities. Like what is it that I need to do? What is it that I want to do? You know what I'm saying? And really just put, you know what I'm saying, everything in order, like write everything out. Like Maydrian said earlier, he got a planner and he started to write everything out and you know, schedule his time and whatnot. The second one would be to make time for those priorities and rest. So you schedule out your priorities, you know what I'm saying, like make time slots for those, and then you throw some rest in somewhere in there, because you can't work 7 days straight and
even
expect
even Jesus and God rested on Sunday.
Exactly. The Sabbath is the Sabbath for a reason, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you really just figure out, you know what I'm saying, what it is that you need to get done, and then you start to plan, plan and plan for those things, those priorities, and plan rest around those. Hell, if you can even plan your rest first. You can plan the priorities around rest if you really want to be, you know what I'm saying, efficient.
And before you move to the last one, I'll just say, and rest is not 8 hours of sleep at night. That is the minimum. You need to be sleeping regardless. Quality sleep is a minimum. Because people would discount that and really think that getting sleep is rested. No, we have to sleep. We have to sleep. We gotta sleep every night. You know what I mean? I think that's something school has taught me, because I can work from 5. I will go from 5 a.m. to 12 a.m. and I'm sleeping between 12 a.m. and 5, thinking I can jump up and do it all over again for 6 more times. No, you got to go to bed. You have to go to bed every night and get quality sleep and really just value that, because that's the minimum. Your brain needs time to sleep and your body needs to. So yeah,
you have to be able to spend some time to decompress, because the more you're able to do that, the more energy,
the better quality work you can put out.
absolutely.
It's like even with working out, you can't build no muscle if you ain't getting no sleep.
Hey, muscle
Because your
building
body
is
ain't retired, your body ain't resting enough.
facts. Facts. Rest is the biggest thing for muscle building. But yeah, the last one, is set boundaries and don't break them. You know what I'm saying? So
That's
we
hard.
went exactly. We went through self-assessing, you know what I'm saying, like figuring out all your priorities, wants, and needs. And then we went through planning them and planning rest around them. And now you need to set boundaries, have boundaries in place to actually implement that plan. You know what I'm saying? If I say I'm gonna rest on Sunday, I have to rest on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? I need to rest and not, you know what I'm saying, feel guilty for resting. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to set boundaries in order to accomplish greatness. And that's with anything you do. Yeah.
I think that's important too, going back off what you were saying. It's important to be present in the moments that you're at. Be present where your feet are. That's how someone said it at a law school event that I was speaking at one time, and they was talking about how hard it is managing life while being a lawyer, and you have to be present where your feet are, because what she means by that was that excuse me,
Bless you.
Excuse me again, thank you. If it's a typical day and her child has a basketball game, but she had a court hearing that she had to be at from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. to like 5 p.m. or something. Her child had a game at 7. Her daughter had a ballet recital at 6. You know what I mean? Maybe she only made one of those. She can only be present where her feet are. She can't be at both of those things.
Right.
And that's the same thing with life, and it's applicable to anything. If you are resting, if that's where your feet are, if you in the bed, why are you worried about what assignments you could have got done earlier, what trades you could have made, or what that's not where you're at right now. You have physically removed yourself from the environment that you typically are in to be productive in that space.
Facts.
So you shouldn't be concerning yourself with the consequences or anything related to that. That's not where you're at in that time period. You have to be present there and enjoy that moment, enjoy that rest, because you'll look back on it and regret it. You know what I mean? If you didn't, you'll look back and be like, man, I wish I would have just took that break then. Because imagine how much more work I could have got done had I just rested when I needed to, and not rested because I was forced into. Because your body will sit you down if you don't do it yourself. Your body will say, hey, this is too much. You wind up in the hospital or just be in the bed for 24 to 48 hours sleep, because your body like, hey, I need to rest. If you force me to this point to force us to stop all this stuff, we finna lay down for a little bit. So
that actually happened to me. It was a little while back. I want to say probably like a month and a half ago, maybe. You remember me telling you that I strained my hamstring again? I'm actually still recovering from that. But before that, I was just like, I wasn't resting enough. Like, I feel like I was resting, you know what I'm saying, like average rest, a day or two off, you know what I'm saying? But the type of training that I was doing, like I was going real heavy. I wasn't doing no stretching outside of the gym. I was doing just other stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like the shoe stuff and just everything else. But, you know what I'm saying, getting the proper rest, stretching. I really wish that I had like a personal like trainer, like how we had in college, that'll make me stretch and foam roll and stuff like that. But I didn't have that, you know what I'm saying? So I was basically burned out to the point where I went to the gym and hurt myself and
physically
paid the price. Yep. And then it wasn't until, you know what I'm saying, then I was literally like, bro, like it's crazy that I have to hurt myself to realize that I need some rest. And it should never get to that point. Like you shouldn't, something drastic shouldn't happen. To me, that's drastic.
Ain't that what burnout is? It's a drastic reaction.
Right.
to your inability to rest.
It
You
is.
know what I mean? So I think that's how life has to get us sometimes, because
Yeah.
we get in our own way. Our nature is to not listen, to rebel. You know what I
Right.
mean? And to, I can do it, I got it, I can keep on going, like superhero complex, like you said, I got it, I keep on carrying it on. I'll sleep later. You know what I mean? And especially in this country we live in, work now, sleep later. You hear that phrase all the
I
time.
sleep when I'm dead.
Sleep when I'm dead. Hell no, I'm asleep
No.
while I'm alive.
Hey,
And then when I'm dead,
don't listen to them
I'm
people.
asleep forever. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I'm gonna get my rest. Y'all got it. If Steve Harvey say rich people don't sleep 8 hours, I guess I'll never be rich, because I'm gonna sleep 8 hours every night. So
I think that's a fad,
yeah, it
because
is.
I heard somewhere that I forget who the person was, but you know what I'm saying, dude's a billionaire and he sleeps 9 and
Yeah.
10 sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So these people are not getting up
At the crack
for
of
four
dawn
hours.
every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not getting up from a night of 4 hours, 4 hours of sleep, and making these big decisions. Like people are putting, you know what I'm saying, like
Way
effort
too
into
much
their
pressure.
rest.
Mm-hmm.
You feel
And
me?
intention behind it. You know what I mean? I saw the
Exactly.
other day Bill Gates goes on a 2-week sabbatical from like everything. He doesn't have his phone. He locks himself in a cabin for 2 weeks just to rest and read and reconnect with himself and think of new ideas. You know what I mean? Like people are putting a lot of thought behind their rest, because the world is
Yeah.
exhausting. The world is exhausting, and yeah, it's a lot. And so I think you hit all the important things with the tips. I won't have anything to add. My biggest thing was just to assess it, the time assessment, self-assessment. I think another thing with the burnout, I'll just say, like I said during my other answer, is just to implement self-care along the way. You know what I mean? That's what something Nidra said in that book. And I think it's so important. That is the best tip I had. If you feel yourself getting ready to burn out, the one time I feel like I caught it was when me and Zay went to Albuquerque. That was right on time, because I felt myself getting so overwhelmed, and I felt
Mm-hmm.
myself just I was in a space where, like, it literally just the change of scenery. I still did work while I was out of town. I got up in the morning, I typed out I had an assignment due for my legal writing class. I finished it there. And I feel like I wouldn't have put out the same level of work at home had I just stayed there mulling over it for hours and hours and hours. You know what I mean? So implement self-care, even if it's just small doses. You know what I mean? I know women get a lot of pleasure out of doing things like for themselves in like a cosmetic way, like getting their nails done, getting their hands done, stuff like that makes them feel good. Fellas may be something like going to the gym, you know what I mean, or just taking a day, or even for people in general, just sitting in the park for a day and
Right.
just not doing nothing. That's something that always just grounds me, sitting outside and just being present with nature. So yeah, man, that's my tip to wrap things up. Just implement self-care along the way. Don't try to
Yeah.
remedy burnout with self-care at the end. Implement it interweave it into your life, and it'll make the process much easier along the way.
Yeah. Just rest. Just rest. Because honestly, um, this is the last thing I got to say, and then we can wrap it up. The things that we're burning ourselves out with are meaningless. You never hear anybody talking about how burned out they are from resting. You never hear anybody you never hear anybody talk about how burnt out they are from spending time with their family. You know what I'm saying? Nurturing important relationships and things of that nature. Those things matter. So the way that we separate or um, prevent burnout is by focusing on what matters, and that's that, like those things, the love, life, stuff like that. Find you a tenderoni. I'm lame for saying that, but something, you know what I'm saying, your mom, your cousins, you know what I'm saying, just spend time with friends, um implement some rest and some fun, and you
Yeah,
know
man.
just do it.
I
But
agree.
yeah, We appreciate y'all. What you about to say, man?
It's been fire. It's been a really good episode. It turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. I think it's been good. Yeah, like Joe was saying, appreciate y'all for tapping in, man.
Yeah, make sure y'all follow us on all social media platforms. We don't have a Twitter yet, but we do. We are on Instagram. Everything is Essential Roundtable or the Essential Roundtable podcast. And yeah, we'll see y'all in the next one.
Yes, sir.